Hello students, we are back. In the last class, we had discussed the universal law of gravitation. Now today, we'll discuss about, write down the topic, subtopic as uniform circular motion, comma, centripetal force, uniform circular motion, comma, centripetal force. Now, in the next line, write the question. In the board, question can be asked in this way. How did Newton derive the inverse square law of gravitation from Kepler's law? How did Newton derive the inverse square law of gravitation from Kepler's laws? How did Newton derive inverse square law of gravitation from Kepler's law? Okay, let's go. First we wrote about uniform circular motion. What is called as uniform circular motion? A body which is moving in a circle, suppose the hands of a clock. A body moving in a form of a circle with constant speed. Any object which is moving in circular motion with constant speed is called as uniform circular motion. So here in this case, I want you to write, let us consider an object moving in a circular path. Let us consider an object moving in a circular path with mass m. Let us consider an object moving in a circular path with mass m. Let the velocity be v. And time period be t respectively. Let the mass of the object be m, velocity be v, and time period be t respectively. Okay. So let us draw a simple diagram. An object moving in a circular motion. Okay. Circular motion. Now here, why did I take circular motion? To get the derivation more easily. That's why I didn't mention the word planet, because we know that planet moves in an elliptical orbit. So here, to get a derivation, to get a better understanding, we will take it as a circular shape, because somewhat it is in the shape of a circle. We will derive it by using the circle formulas. Okay, hope you remember all the circle formulas. Hope you remember what is the circumference of a circle. We need that for this class. Okay, so let us consider an object moving in a circular motion. Okay, what will be the velocity of this object? Velocity definition in your lower class you have done in your 9th standard. The rate of change of distance, the distance covered in a specified direction is called as displacement. Or velocity means what? It is displacement upon time. For the time being, displacement is nothing but distance in a given direction. I will write distance upon time. Here we are not talking about the direction. So just I have mentioned the word distance. So distance of this object. Suppose the object has started from this point. It has come back to this point. So the area, the distance covered by this object from the starting point till again coming to that point is called as, this is nothing but circumference. And we know the circumference of circle is 2 pi r. Circumference is 2 pi r and time period we are taking it as capital T. Now, one most important part, that is, what is the centripetal force of the planet which revolves around the sun? The centripetal force is the driving force that the sun exerts on the planet. What is the measurement of the centripetal force? This formula you will be learning in your 12th standard, because in this class you don't know about ellipse, you don't know about angular measure of an ellipse. So these are things we are not going to see in detail in this class. Just for your information, you have to by heart the formula for centripetal force. The formula for centripetal force is equal to F is equal to mv square upon r. Don't get confused. This is example of an object moving in a circle. I told you why we are taking circle, because derivation can be explained easily with the help of a circle. But at the end of the day, we are talking here about the motion of the planets around the sun. So the motion of when a planet is moving around the sun, when the planet moves around sun, The planet is acted upon by the centripetal force exerted by the sun. And how much is that centripetal force? That centripetal force is mv square upon r. Clear till here? Velocity formula is distance upon time, displacement upon time, and this is centripetal force is F is equal to mv square upon r. You have to by heart it. F is equal to mv square upon r. Okay? I'm taking a pause. By heart it? Okay. Let's continue. Now, we'll talk about this now. Therefore, how much will be the velocity? V is equal to, in place of distance, how much is the distance covered? That is the circumference, which is 2 pi r upon time. We are taking it as period, that is capital T. So these two I'll put in a box. This will be equation number 1. This will be equation number 2. Okay. So we had given this as equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. Now we can see a V here in this formula of centripetal force. We'll substitute the value of V in equation 1. So you will write substituting value of V in equation 1. Write down. Substituting the value of V in equation 1. So let us substitute. Where you see V, there you put this 2 pi r upon T. So therefore, F is equal to M. In place of V, we'll write 2 pi r upon T. Remember, V is square here. Okay. So 2 pi r upon T. V ke jagah pe 2 pi r upon T. Here it is square. So this also full we will square. What is remaining now? This r is remaining. So that I will write down. Understood? Now let us take the square of this. So therefore F, the centripetal force is, let us square M. 2 square is 4 pi square r square upon, this r will be as it is r and this t the whole square. So t square. Correct? So now here 1 r and 1 r will get cancelled. So what we get? So we had got till here. Okay? F is equal to m 4 pi square r upon t square. Now this t square, are you able to remember something? T square, the square of period of revolution. Yes? What was that? Who had given this? Kepler. So now you believe me that Newton had used Kepler's laws to formulate the centripetal force or the gravitational force. Okay, so he got this idea from Kepler's third law. That is, t square is directly proportional to r cube, the square of the distance. So we will write from by Kepler's third law. Write down by Kepler's third law. What was Kepler's third law? T square is directly proportional to r cube. Therefore, t square upon r cube was a constant. Correct, no? This we had done in the last class. T square upon r cube is equal to constant. So here also we can see a t square, but we need an r cube. We need an r cube, but we have only one r. So to make it r cube, we need r square. So what we will do, this we will give as equation number 3. We had given equation 1, equation 2. This will give as equation number 3. Now this, to make this r as r cube, we will multiply and divide by r. क्या चाहिए? R or r square? R square. So next step I will write multiplying and dividing equation 3 by r square. Multiplying and dividing equation 3 by r square. Okay, so you had written multiplying and dividing by r square. In between I rub the board so that we get a continuity. So you had written after this step, after writing by Kepler's third law, you had written multiplying and dividing by r square. So when you multiply and divide by r square, what you got? F is equal to, I'll write number first, 4, then the next constant pi square m r upon t square. Up also you multiplied by r square, down also you divided by r square. Correct? Now r into r square we got F is equal to 4 pi square m. R into r square is r cube. This is what we want, upon t square into r square. Clear till here? Understood? Now again I have written the Kepler's law beside so that we get a connection. Now we can see that t square upon r cube is k. T square upon r cube is k. Now look here, you have r cube upon t square. I'll highlight. T square upon r cube is k. So what will be ulta of this? What will be r cube upon t square? It will be 1 upon k. Correct, no? So in place of r cube upon t square, you will write 1 upon k. Remaining things you keep as it is. So therefore, F is equal to 4 pi square m. R cube upon t square kya hua? 1 upon k. So that k will come down. And who is waiting there? R square. Understood till here? Now just look at the last equation. F is equal to 4 pi square m upon k r square. Here 4 is a constant, pi is a constant, mass of the object. Mass of the object? Every planets have fixed mass. For example, if you are talking about Earth, the mass is somewhat fixed. 5.9 we round it off and take it as 6 into 10 raised to 24. So mass of planet is fixed. So this is also a constant. Pi is constant, 4 is constant, k is also a constant. So what is changing? Centripetal force depends upon the square of the distance between the planet and the sun. That is the distance between the planet and the sun, which is called as r. Okay, so from this we can conclude that this whole thing is a constant. So the force is in inverse variation to square of the distance. Same thing was given in the universal law of gravitation. The force, every object attracts every other object with a force which is directly proportional to product of mass and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Same is happening here. It is inversely proportional. R square is coming as denominator. So it is inversely proportional to square of the distance between the planet and the sun. Okay, so from this, by using Kepler's third law, Newton derived the inverse square law of gravitation. Okay, understood the derivation. So after this you will say, therefore, F is inversely proportional to R square. F is inversely proportional to R square. This proves the inverse law of gravitation. Inverse square law of gravitation. Hope you understood. Go through each step. Write it in a piece of paper at least 2 to 3 times to understand it better. As you learn more, you will be forgetting the things that you learned earlier. Okay. So I want you to write it down, recap and check each and every concept in detail I have explained. Please work on it till we meet the next time. Thank you, students.